G'day, it's Rob here again. Those of you who've been looking at my videos for a while would know that I've got this old Shawblin 102 toolmaker's lathe that I bought as a wreck and did it up, and it's turned into a nice usable machine, and it's good and accurate now. When I got it, it had a faceplate, it had a 4-jaw Pratt Bernard chuck, which was in good condition, and it also had a 3-jaw scroll chuck, which was actually a BSA chuck. It was a Birmingham Small Arms chuck that was 80mm, and that was totally and utterly shagged out beyond redemption. And I've been using this with the 4-jaw Pratt and also the collets that came with it. It's got a collet drawbar and a full range of, pretty much a full range of collets. And I really did want to have a 3-jaw because it's handy, and if they're set up right they can be pretty accurate. So I looked around to see what was available, and I finished up. I bought a 3-jaw chuck, and I'll show you what I got and how I'm going to mount it on the old Shawblin. So we'll have a look. Right, well, here's all the goodies that came with the old girl. There's the faceplate, which is pretty drilled around, but it's okay. It's a nice faceplate. It's got the Shawblin 1.5" by 12 TPI thread, which is an unusual thread to go on the spindle. And here's the Pratt Bernard 4-jaw chuck, which is on a backing plate, which is also the Shawblin thread. That's a good unit, nothing wrong with that. This is the BSA 3-jaw scroll chuck, 80mm, which is totally and utterly stuffed. I mean, look at that. The crowns on these jaws are totally worn away. I mean, the crown is a ½ inch wide and flat. I mean, you couldn't get anything more buggered if you tried. So apart from that, the jaws are all sloppy as hell. The whole thing's a total write-off, so that's going in the scrap bin, unless some collector wants it, which I find hard to believe. But no, more than likely that'll go in the scrap bin. And the way they had it mounted was they had the little scroll chuck mounted on the drive dog plate. And I mean, that's not a bad way of doing it, I suppose. I mean, you know, it's good enough to do the job, and it can be accurate. So I decided that I'd get a new chuck in 80mm once again. It's a good handy size, and the Shawblin can't really swing big stuff. Either the tapered spindle will start to bind, or I mean, it's not like roller bearings where you can load up the headstock to hell and they'll still keep going because the frictional forces don't vary that much. When you've got a lathe with a plain tapered bearing, or bush, I suppose you should say, system, if you put a lot of end thrust on them, they will basically sap the power from the lathe. So yeah, roller bearings and ball races are definitely the way to go. But anyway, this old girl's got bronze double tapered headstock bushes, so that's the way they made them, and it's good and accurate. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, so this is the drive dog they were using to mount the little BSA chuck. So I looked around to see what reasonably good quality chucks were around, and a lot of the comments on Fuerda were good. So after much hunting around, I thought, okay, I'll go for Fuerda, and I got one in 80mm, and it's a nice looking little chuck. Seems fairly well made. You get the usual stuff. You get a key and external jaws and some screws to hold it on, and it had a spring that goes on the on here, which is useless, so I took that off. So the difference between the new chuck and the old chuck was that the new chuck had a 50 what was it, a 55 millimeter step in the back, and the old one had a 57. So basically all I had to do was check that the drive plate was uniform, which it was. I measured it with the test indicator and it was pretty good. So I then just machined back the step in it from 57 to 55, and the little Fuerda now goes on it the same way as the other one went on. So that's a good snug fit, and it's just a matter of, got it marked to keep a reference point. Just a matter of now put the little screws in and to mount it, and we'll do some testing just to see just how accurate this little chuck is. It's going to be interesting, and we'll see if it's as good as a lot of people reckon these Fuerdas are. It's made in China. It's a Polish brand, but it's now made in China. And talking to the guy that sold it to me, he said they're pretty well received. They haven't had any complaints, so we'll see just how accurate it really is. Okay, hang in there. Okay, well I've mounted the little Fuerda onto the drive plate. Screw her on. And everything looks pretty uniform. So now we'll take some measurements. Right, well I put the chuck on, bolted it all up and checked the run out, and it was pretty good, but there was just a tiny bit of run out in it. Now this drive plate, I measured it and it was pretty good, but it wasn't absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reface it with my tool post grinder. I mean, you can reface it with a cutter if you want, but I wouldn't do that because a tool post grinder will always do a better job, particularly where you've got an interrupted cut like this where the drive dog goes. So I mean, this isn't ideal. I have actually got a cast iron blank I'm going to machine up later, and it actually was the flywheel off of a treadmill motor. They're cast iron and yet they make good backing plates. They're solid cast iron, quite good quality generally. And I've used them before to make backing plates, so when people throw out their old treadmills, you can get good DC motors out of them, and you can also get good backing plates up to about 6 inch. Okay, that's diverging a bit, so now I'll fire up the old tool post grinder and I'll reface it. I'm using a disc rather than a stone because I don't want to interfere with the register that I've machined into the centre to go on the back of the chuck. So if you take it slowly, a disc will do a very, very good job, just as good as a stone. And you can get into tight angles with it without interfering with stuff. So that's why these little cut-off discs are quite good for just refacing if you just go slowly with them and don't go too heavy. So that's the next part of the video. I'll fire up the TPG. Now this won't require a lot of grinding, just very, very light. I've covered her up a bit. I mean, you get a bit of grit flying around, but you can't expect miracles. So give it a bit of oil. You just have to clean up afterwards, that's all. Give the old girl a bit of lubrication. Right, and we're ready to go. Beautiful. Okay, you can see she's done a top job on that. That's as good as you're going to get. And I only just took a skim off, just work it back and forwards, you know, 4 or 5 times, very lightly. And that should come up perfecto. So now it's a matter of put the chuck back on and see if we get a better reading out of it than we got before. It wasn't bad, but I mean, I suppose a lot of people would be happy with it, but I wasn't. So we're trying to get as good a job as we can. Nothing in life is perfect, particularly machining, but you can get it pretty good. Okay, we'll put the chuck on. Okay, well, let's see what this thing's capable of. I mean, this is straight out the box. As you saw, I've machined the refaced the backing plate. So I've got an end mill in here, which carbide end mill, which or slot mill actually, which should be pretty accurate. We use that as a reference. We'll just put it on to 0. We'll see what we get out of this thing. So that's straight out of the box. So it's not perfect. So I'm going to have to run the TPG through the jaws, clean them up, then I should get a perfect reading. I mean, some people look at it and go, oh yeah, that's good enough, but not really. So where she's actually 0.05 out, which is, you know, better than a lot of machines that get delivered. But if you're going to do this job, you might as well try and get it as good as you can get it. So yeah, 0.05 out of, I don't know, what have we got, 30 mil out. I'll wind in the Shorblen. You can see how accurate the cross slide is. Not too bad, eh, for a oldie. Didn't do a bad job on reworking the dovetails on that. She's pretty good. You wouldn't do better with a new machine, really. So okay, I'll now run the TPG through the chuck very, very lightly, and we'll see if we can get it up to a better reading. I mean, you know, considering how far out that is from the chuck, I suppose it's reasonable, but we'll try for a bit more. Okay, well, I couldn't use the TPG on this because my stones just aren't small enough. Even though I've got real small stones with the small spindle, it's still wanted something even smaller. So I tried, but I couldn't get in deep enough. So what I had to do in the end was I had to hand grind these jaws. So basically, to square it up, at the moment we're down to 0.02, which isn't bad considering, you know, it's that far out from the chuck. It's reasonable, I suppose, for a 3-jaw. It's certainly half of what it was. You can see that. But of course the scrolls on these things all vary, but you're never going to get it 100%. To do it by hand, you basically take a measurement, get your high spot, or actually get your low spots better. To get your low spot, and then what you want to do is you want to, so in this case that's your low spot, take this jaw here out and grind a little bit off of it on an oil stone, put it back in, remeasure, and just work your way around, work your way through it until you get all the low spots off, and you'll get it pretty right. So as you can see, I've improved it. It's a lot better than it was. Whether I can get any better is debatable. You've got to be careful you don't, you know, grind it unevenly too. You don't want any cant in the jaws. But I suppose for a 3-jaw that's not bad. I'll put in a 20 mil end mill and just see how it measures up in a different position. Right, let's see what we can get on this. Whoa. Big difference. That's the trouble with these scroll chucks. You get them right in one spot and they're no good in another. I'll reposition this. I hope my end mill's alright. Should be pretty well machined. And I'm a bit further out than I was too, but I don't think these are super duper precision chucks really, these things. They're okay, but I mean they're nothing marvellous. Try this. Alright, we'll try it again. See what we get out of it. Alright. It's all over the shop. Bloody thing. Well, this video has just come to an end. This Fuerda chuck, which looks so promising, has just shit itself. Can you believe that? Ha! Can you believe that? It's jumping teeth inside. It's look, it's seizing up. Come here, you bugger. What a heap of crap. And look, it undoes and then it look, locking up again. Can't get the bugger to go back now. Look, brand new bloody truck. Jesus. Can you believe how crappy that is? Now, when I got this, I was using it and I thought, oh, it feels a bit notchy, but you know, well, maybe it'll just sort of wear in. And then when I was dialing it in, I dialed it in on the 10mm, small 10mm shaft you saw, roughly 10mm. Got it up to 0.01 run out, 0.2, which was, you know, not too bad at that distance. So then I moved on to the 20mm diameter setup just to see how that went. And it's way out, it's all over the shop. And, you know, a mil run out. I mean, crikey, that's shocking. And then as I was playing around with it, the next thing you know, the bloody thing seized up on me. So I'm really pissed off about this. So I'm taking that back, get my money back. I'm not going to get another one because, I mean, if one's bad, okay, I could be unlucky, but I don't reckon I am. I just think they're just, they look good, but they're probably crap inside. I took the back off and looked in there and everything looked normal, but it's obviously skipping teeth. So the clearances are obviously way out of whack. And I mean, no, it's just not on. So the Fuerda gets the big thumbs down as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, it wasn't a cheap one. I mean, it was more than twice as dear as the cheapest you can buy, and you expect quality. And the bloody thing packs up within the first half a day. I mean, not on. So I'm pretty damn annoyed. So it's back to the man, take back his chuck and get my money, and then I'm just going to have to find something else. But what the hell I'm going to find, because, you know, I mean, the Chinese chuck on my little Chinese lathe is brilliant. That's a beautiful chuck. No name on it. I don't know what brand it is, but it's beautifully made and it's very accurate. This is supposed to be good stuff, and it craps out on you. Okay, I've had my little rant. That's it. This is the end of the video. And I'm going to go and have a glass of red and cool down.